All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we're going to be looking a little bit more into the Constitutional Convention, and we're going to be looking at what the framers decided to do, especially when it came to the three branches of government and the checks and balances. We're going to be looking at that. What is it? What does it mean? And things like that. And what is the purpose of it? Okay, so let's go ahead and start this lesson. All right, so here is your warm-up picture. Um, First question asks you to put in your own words what's happening here. Okay, explain what's happening, the person, the tools they got, the thing they have on them. What does that thing represent? So go through this. Okay, answer that first question. The second question asks you, do you think that they are going to get out of this? And in yes, no, and how do you know? Why do you say yes or no, whichever one you chose? Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, write your response, but we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so last class we were talking about how states got their power based off in the House of Representatives, based off population, and the Senate. Every state, no matter how big or small, got two senators. Now, the thing is, the delegates all agreed on another thing, that the people ruled, meaning that the government got their power from the people. They didn't get it based off the rich people or the military, things like that. No, no, no. It was off the people. So if the people say they don't want something, the people can stop the government from passing a law saying something that they don't want. Okay. They felt the representative system would be best instead of a direct democracy. Direct democracy is when you individually go vote for something as opposed to you voting for representatives and that person votes not only for you but the people in your district or your area. Okay. Now the only thing they agreed on was that the federal system in which the central power government should be divided between two groups, the federal and the state. Okay. Now, if that is kind of hard for you to understand, think of it like this. In some states, the usage of marijuana, it is legal. Some states like California, Colorado, I believe Washington is another one. They allow people to use marijuana if you're a certain age and things like that. But federally, it's illegal. Okay, so state and federal are two different forms of government, but they're still the same one. You know, the federal is overall, the state is again a state, and we have 50 of them. Okay. Now, like I told people in class, if let's say somebody crossed from California into Nevada or Arizona and they're like, oh, I can smoke marijuana, I'm from California. It's like, yeah, but you're in Arizona now. So you have to follow Arizona laws. So once you cross the state line, you have to follow their laws, whatever it may be. And sometimes people don't realize that, and they end up crossing lines, state lines, and they can get into federal trouble, especially if they're carrying something that is illegal. Okay, so there's that. Now, our government has three branches: the legislative, the executive, and judicial. The legislative, which is Congress, it's made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. So those two groups, that bicameral group, are in one branch, the legislative branch. Okay. Then the president, as many people know as, that's the executive. And it's the Supreme Court, they are the judicial. Okay. So each branch has their own little top people, but again, the legislative is two things: the House of Representatives and the Senate. They make up that one branch, which is a legislative branch. Okay, try to remember that. The reason I ask that is because it connects to your first question. Do you think the House of Representatives and the Senate, instead of being one branch, do you think that maybe they should be two, be their own branch of government? You know, what do you think? Should they be their own, the House of Representatives, the Senate, the executive, and the judicial? Or do you think it'd be best, no, let's have three? It'd be better to have three branches than four. Okay, so tell me why. And remember, in the legislative branch, nothing can pass unless both sides agree. Okay, both the House of Representatives and the Senate have to agree for something to pass through the legislative branch. So keep that in mind as you're writing your response. Okay, so pause the video, but we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I moved my video box up here now because the thing is, I want you guys to see this. This is the checks and balances, okay? Each branch of the government has their own powers. So if you look inside the blue rectangles, that's the power those branches have. So legislative branch, which is again Congress, they write laws. They confirm presidential appointments. When the president says, I want this person as the Secretary of State, the legislative branch says okay or not okay. They ratify treaties, grant money, declare war. The president, they can propose laws. They make sure that the laws are being followed. They are the commander in chief of the armed forces, which means that they control the army. They can negotiate treaties. The judicial branch, the Supreme Court, they interpret the Constitution and other laws, and they review lower level court cases. Now, our founding fathers, the framers of the Constitution, basically knew we have to do something because one of these branches might think they're chingon, they might think they're big and bad and try to take over. So we need to make sure that this group can't, or this group can't get powerful. So this group's can have power over them, and they in turn can have power over these guys, and it should be a system of, hey, you can't do that. We're going to stop you. Okay, so each branch has power over the other one in certain things. So if you look on the side where the arrows are, whether they're outside or inside, that's the power they have over one another. So the Congress has the power over a president. They can reject his appointment. So if the president says, I want this person as Secretary of State, the Congress can say, no, that person sucks. If they says, I made a peace agreement with Iran, Congress can go, no, we don't like that. If Congress makes a law, they agree on it, and they send it to the president to sign, he could say, I don't want that. That law is stupid. He can do that. Okay? Same thing again with the Supreme Court. They can say, yeah, that law, it's unconstitutional. It violates people's rights, And Congress, in turn, they can impeach Supreme Court judges if they break the law. They can charge them, and they can impeach them. So, again, the arrows on the outside and on the inside, the things that it says, that's the power they have over one another. Okay? Now, the thing is, I've had a lot of students ask me, well, how come, like Trump, for example, in 2019, how come he got impeached but he didn't get kicked out? Because in the impeachment process, the House of Representatives set the charges, which that means the charges of impeachment. Okay, so it's like if someone you and I, if the cops come to us and say you're being charged with murder, that doesn't mean we necessarily did the crime. It's just the charges against us. It's when we would have our trial that we would be charged and found innocent or guilty. Same thing with the president or a judge. In this case, it's the Senate, the Senate would then say, yeah, you broke the law. Yes, you're going to be impeached, or no, you're not going to be impeached. Okay, so the Senate agrees. They are the ones who look over the case and say yes or no. And of the three presidents we've had who've had the charges against them, none of them have been impeached because the Senate said no when it came to the charges. They said no. All right. So we're moving on. All right. This is a quick little list of the people who have been charged. Um, and as you can see, some have been found guilty, some were acquitted. President Johnson, he was acquitted. He actually was acquitted by one said, excuse me, so sorry about that. One senator said no. If he had flipped his thing and said, yeah, he should be impeached, um, Johnson would have been the first president impeached. Clinton was acquitted. Same thing with Trump in 2019. He was acquitted. So here's my question to you. Oh, let me move this video down back here. There we go. Um, do you think the Supreme Court should be in charge if deciding if the president broke the law? Because remember, judges, they know the law. They know what it says. And once a person's a judge, they're a judge for life. So they don't have to worry about politics. They don't have to worry about being reelected. Whereas senators, they do have to worry about being reelected. So if a president is well liked but broke the law, these senators might be like, well, the people in my area like that president, so I won't vote against them because I want to be reelected. So there's that issue that might come up. So what do you think? Should the Supreme Court decide if a president is guilty, or should it be left to the legislative branch? Because hey, the framers, the founding fathers, they chose that specifically for a reason. We should let it be. What do you think? What do you think? Tell me what you believe. Okay. Pause the video. We're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right. So the delegates at the Constitutional Convention, they realized, you know what? The Constitution they wrote in the summer of 1787, it might need to be changed in the future. Because, again, like a lot of smart people, they realize they don't know everything. And they realize, too, that times change. They just have to look at their own history to realize times change, ideas change, philosophy, people's perspective of life, and things like that. It changes through time. Who's to say what people what people believe in 1787 is going to be the same thing in 100 years? So they left room for the Constitution to be adjusted and changed and things like that. Because again, they knew times are going to change and people might want or might feel that these laws need to be reversed. They might need to add some, or the wording might need to change on certain things. But the thing is, they also knew if we leave it too open or too easy to change the laws, people are going to be changing the laws like every week and things like that. And, and then this is going to be legal. And then this next month is going to be illegal. And then it's just going to be a continuous thing. And people are going to be like, oh, what's the law this week? So they made it into a two-step process: proposal and ratification. Now, it sounds easy. It's like, hey, just write a proposal and it has to be voted on. So that, no problem. It's not that easy. So later on, we're going to get more in depth on how a bill is passed. I just want to give you the background knowledge to it. Okay. Now, there's two things a majority. There's a simple majority and a super majority. Simple majority is simply that. it barely crosses 50%. So 51% or higher, that's a simple majority. Okay. Super majority is the bar is raised up to 66% or higher. Okay. So if they say, hey, this bill has to pass by super majority, that means 66%. 2/3 have to say yes. You know, so if an amendment is proposed, it needs to pass by 2/3 in not only the House of Representatives, but in the Senate as well. And then it goes to the president. Okay. And that's where we're talking about the veto and things like that, which again, we will get more in depth later on. Um, but the thing is, somebody, like I told some students years ago, um, there is a way around that. Okay. Because the thing is, let's say we, the people, feel, hey, these congressmen and senators, they, they make way too much money. We should cut their pay. Of course, no senator and congressman is going to vote for that. So there is a way to go around these senators and congressmen. All right. Basically, we would have to propose an amendment. Okay. And the thing is, the proposal would have to gather about 3/4 of the legislature or the states. So 3/4 of the states would have to say, okay, yeah, you know. So in this case, it would be right now because we have 50 states. It would be like 38 states would have to say yes, to that, and then the people would have to vote, saying, yeah, we want that. Whatever it may be. That's how the people, have power over our government. That even if the congressmen, the people we elect to represent us, don't represent us, we can still go around them and make the laws and the things that we want, that we feel our country needs, even if they don't agree. But the thing is, we have to be united. Okay, it just can't be a simple majority. It can't be a super majority. It has to be above that, which is again 3/4, which is a lot. But again, if 3/4 of the country say they want something, they better get it. Okay, so that's what our the framers of the Constitution, our founding fathers, believed. So there is a back channel so we can get things done. So here's my question to you. Do you think laws, elections, and other important things that are going on in our country, should it be passed by a simple majority or should it be passed with a super majority? So if you forgot already which one's which, rewind the video a little bit or even look at your notes and tell me, what do you think? Should elections, laws, and other important things, should they be passed by a simple majority or super majority? And tell me why you chose that one. Okay, so pause the video, write your response, but we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. So now to your exit ticket. Tell me something you learned. Tell me something you thought was interesting or you found fascinating or something you heard before, you thought you heard it, and now it just reconfirmed it, or something you may have heard and actually misheard it. That's I've had a couple students tell me that I thought this was happening. I thought this so and so did that. So let me know. Okay. So once you're done with this exit ticket, you are done for the class. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Okay. You guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you later. All right.